Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fab Gab. And this is a very special episode because we're all a bunch of Beetle geeks here who are very excited about all things Get Back and all things Let It Be. And so much going on now, so much stuff coming up that I thought let's just have a little bit of a party here. Oh, there it is. La, 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 la. It's So I got a phone call. Can't answer it now. We may have another couple of people.
Oh, I thought you were putting on music for us.
That's
Yeah,
what I
so
thought.
That's my phone ring. What do they call it? Ringtone. It's the end of the world as we know it. Sorry, folks. But anyway, uh, so we're expecting possibly two more people that may join us in the middle. They weren't here. We delayed the show a little bit to see if they could get on early, but I'm afraid not. So I'm going to introduce everybody here to start with. All things Let It Be, all things Get Back. Let's have some fun. Of course, you know me. This is my channel. Of course, me, Mr. Mayo, here on YouTube. And my guests are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't consider my friend Matthew Street necessarily. I guess he's a co-host, really. He's always doing this show.
I'm always hanging out here, yeah.
And here he is. Matthew Street has got his own channel. Hello, Matt.
Hey, Joe. Hey, and wow, what a cavalcade of stars we have today with us, huh? It's like a caravan of the greatest Beatles shows on YouTube between Talk More Talk and Two Legs and Tim and Caitlin. It's unbelievable.
Okay, yes, indeed. And then we have the queen of all things, queen of Beatles media. We have the queen of podcasts, the queen of Let It Be parties, everything. She has a few books out now, right? I'm going to say without looking, okay? We got one of them is
Boy.
Songs We Were Singing. Songs We Were Singing. Guided Tours through the Beatles' lesser known tracks is one of her books. She also has a book, Michael Jackson FAQ, all that's left to know about the King of Pop. And also Fandom and the Beatles, the act you've known for all these years, or the other way around.
Very
So-
good.
So Ken Womack was also part of that book. And she's one of my co-hosts. We do a show, Talk More Talk. And for those of you who may not know, Talk More Talk is on every other Monday on Facebook. It's a live show where we call it Talk More Talk because it's mostly about solo Beatles. We talk about solo Beatles and occasionally the Beatles when something important comes up, like this, for example, which we'll do on our next show. Okay, that'll be Monday the 25th. But she's one of my co-hosts on that show. So welcome, Kit. And speaking of Talk More Talk, the next gentleman we have here is someone who is another one of our co-hosts on Talk More Talk. But he's also got another podcast called Two Legs, which is a McCartney-centric, as I call it, video cast where he talks with somebody I'll introduce in a minute. You may know him or not. Well, I'll fix that. It's Tom Hunyadi. So, Tom, thank you for
feel
being
like we
here.
got the Ten Commandment tablets here, you know.
Yeah.
You show off. You show off.
Do some curls. You can do curls with those things.
Yeah.
Right.
And
How's
Tom,
everybody doing? Glad to be
doing,
here.
doing great. Very excited right now with this. It's great to have you here. And also, his partner on the show right there, center square.
Center
in this
square.
broadcast. It's Andy Nichols. Andy, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Joe, and good afternoon, everybody, and Beatle people everywhere. As we dive in and unbox, maybe a little I haven't opened mine yet. This
Oh,
one.
well.
Oh,
We may.
All
We may
right.
talk a little about that. Whatever we want to do there, we'll take it up. We'll take it up with the consensus.
Thanks
all
for
right.
having me.
Okay. Now we have someone that is very frequently on my live streams, and he knows all things music. As far as I can see, I'm always learning things from him. And he's got. I'm looking at it for this one, Tim. I'm not going to get it wrong. I'm going to read it for this. He's got an interesting show, the Snap, Crackle, and Pop Vinyl Hour. Okay. And you can tell us a little bit more about that if you like. He's none other than Tim Allen. Hi, Tim.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for having me. And that's enough about my show.
Oh, come on. Come on, man. Okay, last but by no means least, we have someone who has a
Special guest.
YouTube channel. She's trying very hard to get on the Sirius XM channel, Beatles channel, right?
Not trying. It's I'm happy to announce it's happening.
Oh, let's talk about this.
Details.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This is
Share
Yeah.
the details.
This
She
is
said
this is
she wanted to give some news here, and here she is.
Here's
Yeah.
the perfect place to do it.
Caitlin Larkin, please tell us this wonderful news that we're just hearing for
Yeah.
the first time. What?
So I have been invited to be on the amazing FaB Forum show that airs on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. on SiriusXM, the Beatles channel.
Dennis, Tom
Yep.
Frangione,
And Bill Flanagan,
Bill
yeah.
Flanagan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
That's
thank you.
awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's amazing. And then the following week, starting the 25th, I actually submitted a My Fab 4, which is going to be played throughout the entire week. So you'll hear me for an entire week on the Beatles channel, and this coming Wednesday on the FaB Forum.
Very
Excellent.
And it's
nice.
also repeated the following
Very
weekend.
nice.
After that Wednesday, it
Yes.
should be repeated that weekend. Yeah.
But
Now,
then
Good for you,
also,
Caitlin.
oh, there's more. There's more news.
there's
Good.
more. If you have the SiriusXM app and you happen to miss the FaB Forum, it's totally cool. It's on demand. You can go and you can listen to it anytime. And for my followers and subscribers, you can go to my YouTube channel in about an hour and you will receive a link for a free trial of SiriusXM in case you're not a subscriber already.
Oh, that's cool.
Great.
Well,
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
just tell me that when you did that, what is it? What is it
My
called?
Fab Four.
My
Yeah.
Fab- Just tell me it's not Let It Be, Yesterday, Long and Winding Road. You know,
Joe, it's like you don't know me.
it was a
No.
good chance to make a little dig.
That was like the hardest thing I ever had to do was to choose just 4. And so I came up with the concept of like, okay, I'm going to pinpoint things that happened to me in my life and choose songs based on that. So it kind of made it a little bit easier for me. So, yeah. So I hope everybody likes the songs that I chose. I definitely went a little outside the box with some, but then some are a bit more, mainstream, but they have good stories, and that's the point.
If you can't say, we totally understand, but can you share even a little hint of what your with Tom, Dennis, and Bill is going to be about, or is that kind of hush hush right now?
The only thing that I'm aware of is that we will be also discussing Let It Be and Get Back.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's going to be more along the lines of stuff like that.
No.
Look forward to it.
Excellent.
That
Yeah.
was great.
Very cool.
Well, you just said Let It Be and Get Back.
I
So
did.
that's a segue. Brad wants to know how he gets on. I'm sorry, Brad. I can't do it right now. The show's begun. I had sent to your email, private email, the link. If you want to, hopefully you got it. Remember you sent me the email address, and I sent you the link. Let's without further ado, start talking about some of these new goodies that are out. Why don't we start with the book? Tom, hold it up.
Tom's got it handy. I think mine's on a.
Oh wait, are we supposed to all have our books?
No, you don't have to.
No.
No.
Well, once I do have it.
Wait, I
No,
feel
no.
left out.
You don't have. No, I believe you have it. I believe you have it.
I'll leave mine back there. You can see it. There it is.
So, look, when I made my video, when I showed the book, I'm looking at the phone. Look at these great photos. Whoa, on the camera. Look at this. The text.
Yes.
It's the transcripts that are amazing.
That drew me. Yeah.
The pictures are great too, right? But
Oh yeah.
you get to get the story of what happened all the way through and all the dialogue.
Now, granted, I understand it's not every last word that was said during those
No.
weeks period,
Right.
but I tell you, it really brings you in, like you feel like you're there experiencing what they're experiencing with those
Absolutely.
transcripts.
It's better to read it, I think, than listen to it. My partner there in crime made a good point to me earlier today that when you try to listen to this stuff on bootlegs or whatever, it's really hard to make out a lot of what they're saying. But now we can read it all, which is nice.
Yep.
Exactly.
Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just send a quick link. You know what I'll do? If you just give me a moment here, folks, maybe I will send a link while we're talking. Continue to talk, folks, if you like. I'm going to just send Brad, if I can get it, the link. Okay?
Are we pulling a Linda Richmond?
Well-
Do we have to come up with our own topic?
It's very freestyle. Very free. But we'll
The,
continue with the book.
I
the
like
day by day aspect of it is excellent. I mean, we can follow it. I mean, obviously, it's going to be a companion to to the docuseries on Disney Plus, and we can follow with the series, because it looks like from the trailer that the series is going to go day by day as well. There won't be any skipping around, which I think is probably the best way to do it. So definitely looking forward. I mean, after seeing the trailer the other day, if you weren't excited for this series, then after watching it, if you're still not excited, then you need to check your Beatles card, because it might be expired.
You need an infusion of something, Beatles blood or something. Yeah.
I thought it was
check your
interesting. Yeah, really. I thought it was interesting how the book was organized, almost like a play.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
when you read the transcripts, it does read like a play.
Yeah, scene 1, scene 2. Yeah.
Exactly. It is.
Act 1. I mean, it really is. Like, Act 1, Twickenham, Act 2, Apple, Act 3, the rooftop. I mean, that pretty much is like it is. And they even have, sort of the cast. And I mean, I thought
it's like a play.
And it really is. And when you read those transcripts, it does kind of read like that, because of course you do have the drama, George leaving and so forth. And it's really, I thought that was very clever.
Right away, the book alleviated any fears that it was going to be all rosy and happy puppy dogs. You knew that this was going to be the real deal.
And I'm hoping that that's what Peter Jackson is going to present, because we're talking about an Act 1 and Act 2 and Act 3, and we know how fantastic would it be if the Act 1 is they're at Twickenham. They're lost. They don't know what they're doing.
Twickenham.
The H is silent.
Twickenham. Twickenham.
You gotta say it like they do.
Twickenham.
No, Twickenham.
I'm terrible with words.
Right.
Don't ask me.
So they're at Twickenham Studios, and while they're at Twickenham Studios, as I say, they don't got it together. They're trying to pull it together. They're getting on each other's nerves, et cetera, and so forth. And then it gets to the point where, in the middle, they go to Apple, right? And then all of a sudden,
they went to Savile Row there.
Just kidding. like
Seville.
Silent, the Barber of Seville Row. And then and then they get Billy Preston joins them. They're feeling better. They're starting to get it together. And then of course the grand finale is the rooftop concert where everything comes together. How marvelous would that be? Let me ask you.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's going to be how this docuseries is going to go. It has to be in 3 parts. It has to go out that way.
Yeah. Here we have somebody, one of our scheduled guests. Down below. I think he's ready. Give me a wave if you're ready, sir. I don't know if he's waving. He's kind of going like. I don't know.
Anyone home?
Hello.
Think,
Someone
McFly.
knock on my
Think.
door.
So anyway, I thought when I was reading the book, I spent a couple hours just reading a lot of it straight through. And I'm thinking, first I'm thinking, is this a dialogue from the movie? Like, is this going to be the movie? No, it's not going to be. Every scene is not necessarily going to be in the movie.
No, I can't imagine.
No,
I mean, if they picked out these certain transcripts for the book, I would imagine that then they would be part of the movie as well. I mean, for us to follow along with.
Maybe.
So,
you think we're going to get different music in the movie? Music that's not on any of this stuff? Do you think there'll be different music passages?
I think,
I hope not. I hope all the music that we got is what's in there. I don't want to, because that would stink.
No, that's amazing marketing.
Right.
That'd be great to have a movie soundtrack for this docuseries.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to have that amazing poster that we've seen as the cover for this.
Yes.
Then release that.
Take my money now.
Yeah, take it. Here's the credit card. Go. Swipe.
Well, what do you think of this question?
That's a good question. Yeah.
Mark wonders if they'll adhere to strict chronological order in the show. Will they show the rooftop followed by the last 3 songs at Apple, or will they switch them for dramatic effect?
I don't know. That's
Peter Jackson. Peter Jackson is a pretty awesome director. He's going to do it justice, and I think he'll follow the timeline as it was. I think he will.
I hope so. Because it's kind of a question of, is this project going to be made for us nerds, or is it going to be made for more general fans. I mean,
6 hours. I think it's
but I'm
it's made for us.
hoping, yeah,
It's made
that's
for
a
us.
good
Mostly us.
sign.
I hope both, because I want new fans to be born out of this, which I think they will be if they
Right.
see this on Disney. I think, oh, there he is. There's our better late than never guest.
I couldn't get the link in. My goodness.
There he is.
Ugh.
Oh, Brad.
Are you
Hi,
here now?
everybody.
Just
You seem exhausted by just clicking on a link.
just relax. Relax.
I had a
and
full
take
set of
easy.
hair when I started this thing.
Right?
I didn't.
I hear you. I hear you.
Great
And now
to
you're
be
here,
back.
and just feel free to join in with us. It's Beatle Brad, who's got his own YouTube channel and an amazing collection, I might add. I always like to say that because I'm very impressed
Yes.
by your collection. So we're here. We're talking mostly. I have another person waiting to join. See, this is what, because I left the link. Somebody came
Go
in
and
who
just
might want to join.
back to that last thing for 1 second before
Yeah.
we pass over it. Do you think they could do something like where the rooftop concert is the big crescendo, but then like a coda near the end, they go to that next day when they do those 3 videos? Or do you think they're going to be prior to the
I mean, if there's
rooftop?
stuff filmed, if it was filmed, then yeah, why not?
I would like it to personally. I don't know. I would like it to end with the rooftop.
Mm.
Yeah.
But I hope you, even though it's like the original movie, I hope we pass the audition. That
Mm.
Yeah, it doesn't get better than
It's
that.
it's just such a good classic ending that even if there is, footage or anything that's from after that, I don't know if you can beat that. Then how do you end it then?
You use that stuff for the credits. You get the last credit, or you get the last scenes after the credits, like the Marvel films. Then that's where you put that stuff.
After credit scenes.
After
Yes.
credit scenes.
Yeah.
mystery guest who was appearing in the bottom. If you want to come back, I can try to let you on. I think I can have up to 10 people. I think. I just want to make sure I have a
Yeah,
spot
if you can.
reserved for if possibly
Ken, if he pops in.
if
yeah.
Ken Michaels possibly can make it. We wasn't sure he could make it, so we're going to leave a spot. But you can come back, mystery guest, because it's a surprise guest now.
Great to be a part of this and glad to see everybody. Definitely. Hello, everybody. That's up above me. Hollywood Squares, I feel like I'm doing. But anyway, to jump into this, what your guys are talking about, we all grew up watching Let It Be. For a good portion of us that are watching and those that are commenting down below, we watched Let It Be. So we're kind of used to the ending of Let It Be with them doing the final rooftop session. And I sort of feel like that would be kind of a nice way to kind of keep it in capsule for that moment of doing the final concert on the rooftop of Get Back or something like that.
And although they say that the original Let It Be film could be remastered, so to speak, and that's going to be released at some point as well. So
We hope
we
so.
will have
We
that
hope
at some
so.
point, I hope.
Yeah, let's hope.
Needs to be available.
Yeah.
It has to be for historical reasons.
Better than getting it on VHS and beta.
Laser disc.
What do you think is the real quote? Nearly everybody, including the book, gets the audition quote wrong. I think it's, I'd like to say thank you on behalf of the group. For ourselves, I hope we pass the audition. I thought a group
And
I thought it was and ourselves.
That's what they have in the book. Yeah.
You should have said and myself, but nevertheless, it's still. I always heard the and in there. No,
Me too.
That's what I always thought. Yeah.
I thought it was thank you, Matthew Street, for being a part of the band. And okay, maybe not.
I don't know.
Well, one thing I want to mention before I forget, no big deal really, but I get the book and then I make the video. Then I realize when I take this banner off, I didn't realize it at first. There's like above George's head, there's like a gash.
You got a gash, yeah.
And I'm like, wow, man,
How does that happen in a sealed?
Yeah, it was sealed. And it has the sun.
You want to see something messed up?
It had to happen pre-packaging, I would
Oh
think.
wait, Caitlin could top it maybe.
Hold on. Oh, I can top it.
Oh, you got paint to stick together, don't you?
Yes, I do.
I did get to listen to part of it, so congratulations, Caitlin, on being able to do the XM.
Thank you, Brad. That means the
stuff.
world.
Congratulations. 3 thumbs up.
Thank you. And also, I have to say this. Other than commenting here and there and seeing us, who's friends on Facebook and stuff, it's so nice to finally talk to you guys, in person, so to speak.
Really?
Because I don't think, other than Joe and Tom and Tim, that I've talked to any of you for real.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, it's great to finally be on a live stream.
So you're saying
Yeah.
what do the pages stick together in the book? Is that what
Really?
Hold on.
I haven't been through
I'm
every
getting caught
page.
in
I don't think.
myself. So these
Send it.
pages
I'll blow it up if you need.
are glued together.
Wow.
Oh,
And that's not some
no.
heavy drooling, is
Oh,
it?
yeah.
There
Oh,
they
you
wow.
are.
bring that back. Oh, you got it online.
Wow.
I got it on
Wow.
Amazon.
Uh,
Oh, that's a shame.
It
Oh,
is a
Have you
shame.
tried? What happens? Have you tried to reopen them or
Yeah, so when you try to open them, they're stuck
tears
to
a
each other,
little?
so
Oh.
it's the glue. So like the pieces of the other page get stuck on the other page. And Amazon was like, "Oh, well, if you click here, you can, return it, and we'll send you a new one." And I'm just like, do I really want to go through the hassle of all that
Nah.
of finding a
you
box
like
and
the
putting it
butcher
in?
cover? Get
and-
a hot hair
And-
dryer like they did with the butcher cover
Well,
peeling
this-
and spray it in there.
Yeah.
This was my other thought. And I know this isn't very conventional, but what if I just so happened to go to my Target up the street and
well,
been like,
I was just going to say,
"Hey."
perfect excuse.
Oh, you
Hey,
go.
my
Yeah, well,
book
do
gets
do
glued
what you got to
together.
do. This is the
Yeah.
Beatles. You do what you got to do.
That's right.
I thought maybe you were
But-
drooling and glued.
But
it
you know,
together.
as you know, the one
Right.
that I got, the one that I decided to get was the cheaper, which was good because 30% off. It was the one that has the lobby cards added to the back, the reproductions of the lobby cards, I should say,
Yeah.
because they're smaller than the real lobby cards. However, the thing I wanted to say with that is, then I found out there was a Costco one. And I'm not a member of Costco.
Different
They-
pictures, yeah.
It's only $36 if you're a member. I'm not a member. And I thought, well, wait a minute. I could kill two birds with one stone. I can get the other one and then have it. That one comes with 8x10 exclusive stills, different stills. So I could go to Costco, get that one for like $36. And that's how I'm kind of like replacing the one that's damaged on the cover.
Joe,
But I have both. So
Joe, did you get
Right.
the Kmart one yet?
there is. By the way, Brad, may I add that is a fantastic shirt. Isn't that from one
That's
of the?
that's the Target exclusive.
Yeah,
shirt,
that's the Target shirt.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
That is a great shirt. I love it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. They're all wrong people. Oh, there's the
Oh.
Elvis cat.
Elvis stuff.
I mean,
Yeah.
we could talk Elvis too.
Yeah, some other show perhaps.
Yeah.
Do a panel on that. Well, look,
Because
who
we're here
wants
to
be
talk
the
about the
first?
Osmonds.
Yeah, the Osmond brothers, if you like, Jacksons. Well, we have one person that's an expert, right, on the Jacksons. But why don't we talk about this trailer too that came out?
Yeah, which was awesome. I watched it like 5 times in one day.
That's
Yeah, me
all?
too.
That's
We've
all?
all added to that gazillion count on YouTube.
Well,
It's going
it's
up.
all,
Yeah.
well, Tom only watched it once because he doesn't want to get burnt out.
Hold on.
Oh, wow.
Did you know this? Canadian Stud Muffins Let It Be book was printed
Yeah.
upside down.
Yeah, I saw
He's
that.
got a
Wow.
video. He's
Should
got
he
a
see
Okay,
video.
I haven't seen the video
Would you
yet.
split it upside
Now, is
down?
that a collectible or should he
Yes.
Yes, keep
return
it
it?
as a
Keep
part of
that.
the one-up.
Keep that. Keep that.
Yeah.
It's like,
I was
He's
gonna
offered
say,
to
I don't
sell
think
it
I'd
for
return that.
$50,000.
no, go buy another book. It's $40.
It could be a one-off
Yeah.
collectible.
I'm looking for questions. So the trailer. Well, you were starting to say, Andy. I don't use the word awesome. I don't like using it all the time.
All right,
As far as I'm
Canadian Stud
concerned,
Muffin, here you go.
it's overused.
I'm ready to buy.
But hand that over. But yeah.
Beetle books.
I don't know. Favorite parts of the trailer? Anybody?
I like what I like about it is that it's been built up. The trailer was done so well, like it was building up the suspense, and we all
Yes.
know how this ends. We know how this ends, but Peter Jackson did such a great job of this trailer of building suspense and everything, and the dialogue, the cutting, the text fading in and out. It's just done so well. I was talking to Tom earlier.
He made a story out of it. He made like
Yeah.
you're about to
Yes.
see a dramatic movie, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
the
the
suspense.
color is just mind blowing. The way the color is just vibrant.
Oh,
It makes you feel like
absolutely.
you're stepping right into
Yeah.
it. you know?
I'd love to see a making of if they had to do a lot of touching up or fixing of the
Yes.
colors and that.
Yeah.
Definitely. If
Clarity.
we get a Blu-ray, a restoration example or making of would be excellent. If we would see,
How they
the
did it.
original negative, and then they show a picture of what the process, And then then the finished product. I mean, obviously we saw the finished project on that trailer, but man, just gorgeous.
It is.
Yeah.
And you kind of also wonder, we're getting 6 hours from Disney Plus. They've gone through a whole lot more footage, and there's tons more. You wonder, with the Blu-ray and DVD, are they going to add maybe a half hour or 45 minutes?
The thing is, this is a Peter Jackson thing.
Everything that Peter Jackson has done, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan and you have those sets, there was bundles and bundles of extra discs of all how it was put together. So if history is kind of any point there, I mean, this when it comes out on a Blu-ray, we will see multiple discs of how it was put together, how it was restored, how it was put together. So hopefully, yes, that's it right there. Tom's got it. And
that's a good point.
Yeah, that would be nice. I hope you're right, Andy. A nice 2-inch thick Blu-ray set
of just how they did, how they went through it, restoring it, finding it, cleaning up, just the technical side of it, as you guys pointed out. I could watch a 3-hour documentary just on that.
Yeah.
It's shot on 16 millimeter. If anybody's ever seen the laser disc, that's the best it's ever looked.
Yes, it is. It is.
It's amazing.
It's 16 millimeter, and it's blown up. Blown up. And the thing is, it's amazing. That quality is insanely good for 16 millimeter. And I do know one person. I don't know if he'll show up here in the comments, but he was commenting. He thought he didn't like the quality. He thought it looked kind of soft and grainy. I'm like, grainy. I'm like, are you kidding?
Well, the grain's going to be there.
Millimeter
quality.
There better be some grain.
Yeah, the grain is the integrity of the film right there. I mean, you can't just go out and clean that all up.
I like waxy Lito. That I like when it comes to film. I do like mine to look super glassy, waxy, clean.
Yeah. Does anyone know how the original Let It Be was filmed? Like, the 16.9 and all that. Like, because this looked like in the trail, like it's widescreen, like it's filmed yesterday.
But it wasn't, right? Wasn't it?
No,
what was the aspect ratio for that? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember.
The thing I'm thinking is the normal. I think it gets technical, but the normal screen usually by that time was 185, right? Which is like a modest rectangle, not CinemaScope 235. It was 185. So I'm thinking that was what it was intended for, but 16 millimeter, isn't that?
You don't think they did like a pan and scan on anything? Do you like get it in closer and cut out stuff to make it look like? I don't know.
Theater, I think it was probably normal widescreen.
Kit, did you want to say something?
Yeah, no, I think I think in the original Let It Be, I think there was certainly for the home video, I think there was some panning and scanning done. I mean, it was terrible. I mean, that's why seeing this trailer, I mean, I was just okay, so it had it and it was cropped.
And I was going to mention the following here that Paul George says 4x3. Was it like a television special or a 10? Like that means it might have been shot as a square.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever it is, it's fantastic looking.
But I'll tell you, I mean, I was just, we had that teaser last December that Peter Jackson posted for us, and then seeing this, I mean, I'm just absolutely blown away. I mean, this footage looks like it could have been shot today. I would love to know, as you guys have said, how did he do this? I mean, this must have taken an enormous amount of work. Now, there are people that, and you guys have you've just touched on a little bit. There are some I've seen online who have complained that that they'd like to see a little grain. They think it's too perfect. I disagree. I think I mean I like that this has brought new life into this footage. I mean, now when we see the whole thing, I don't know. We've just seen a teaser. Maybe when we see the whole thing, it'll be different. But I just think it just looks so great, so vibrant, so modern that I don't know. I think this is going to help us, look at this period in a new way. So it doesn't bother me. But
I'm with you.
Yeah, no, it's gorgeous. It really is. Just simply, it's just gorgeous.
You see a lot of film purists, of which we have a lot of film purists. Tom is one, and I think Andy too, maybe, right? If I know you. The thing is, they always remind us, and rightly so. They say film is made up of grain. That's what the particles that make the picture. But my feeling has always been, I do love when they make it really clean and waxy looking where you can't see any. Some people remember going to movie theaters, maybe us older people, when you'd leave the theater and you used to walk out of the theater, you get up to the screen, maybe and exit right up to the screen. Then you'd see a networking of little ants.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I don't think you're supposed. Of course, it makes up the image, in my opinion. But in my opinion, I like not to call attention to too much.
But you wonder also, there was a lot of black and white footage. Do you think we'll get any of that in the film? The black and white.
I hope not.
I don't think so.
No,
I think I love black and white. I love black and white.
I think that's just safety film. I think color exists with all of that.
We've already said stuff. We've already seen stuff. Excuse me. That's color that we used to seeing in black and white. In that montage of footage that we got the end of last year, which was wonderful. Oh, that was so exciting. And there was a moment in there where they're about to sing "Get Back," and Paul's like, "I'm not going to say it, but what?" And he interrupts him. What?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, look, don't interrupt."
Yeah.
And John's like, "We're bloody stars, Well, actually, he calls him, "Look, F face." I don't know if you ever saw that clip.
I don't think we're going to see that on Disney.
Look, F face, and if you watch that, it's like you hear he left a slight F in there, but you can't hear the whole word.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you got to leave that in there. You got to leave. I know it's Disney, but you got to leave that in there. But then
I know
the mouse says no.
Do they do ratings on Disney's like PG, R, that kind of stuff? I don't know.
Sean Sean, who's this? Sean.
Not sure.
Fury says, "Let it be tech info 130." Point aspect ratio 16. That's like square, more or less, a little bit. 35 millimeter blown up. Yeah. How do you? And when you blow up 16 millimeter, it doesn't usually look good. That's when you really get it.
But that Peter Jackson's a wizard. Anyone see that World War I documentary he did? They will not be forgotten. Amazing.
That was tremendous.
Yeah. It feels like
what he did with that.
Amazing. Yeah, definitely.
If I'm wrong, but Disney owns Miramax, I believe. But that's the case. It's not like they don't produce, movies with swearing. So they get a couple curse words in this. It shouldn't harm anybody too much.
Yeah, no. In all the new Marvel shows that they've had on Disney Plus, where they drop a couple of swear words, but it's nothing ever like the F-bomb. They'll say shit like twice in the episode, and then people freak out that someone said shit on Disney. So
watch it.
Sorry,
it
was an example.
I got fooled. I thought
Caitlin's out of here.
I thought this was Andrew Dixon. This is Andy Dixon. I thought it was Andrew Dixon. Good going.
Yeah.
Andrew's busy. I think the new film will confirm what a visionary and great, albeit reluctant leader Paul really was in that band, let alone having the patience of a saint. The movie wouldn't exist otherwise. I have to agree. Maybe the Beatles wouldn't have had definitely the Beatles wouldn't have had as much product.
Oh, no.
At as short a time as they did if Paul wasn't the workaholic that he was I mean that in a positive way.
Yeah.
So I have to have immense respect for Paul's work ethic when it comes to being in the Beatles.
But
you're looking at 2.5. You're looking at 2.5 months after the release of the White Album, for the most part, right? Or 2.5 months after the completion of the sessions for the White. Either way, that's not really a long period of time.
No.
To get your rest or recoup or recharge the batteries. That's someone that's obviously, we talked about this during that article or whatever. He cares about the band. Obviously, he wants to see that band continue and to continue to be prolific and just to continue to create. And obviously, maybe some of the people, at that time were maybe needed a little bit of a longer break. But
they just needed to take a break. They needed to take a break after the White Album for 6 months. Just take a break. Paul, I think, was just nervous about the future of the band and was like, let's go back to work.
I wonder though, if they did take that kind of a break, maybe for 3 or 4 months, maybe they wouldn't have broken up.
That's right. Exactly.
Some alternate universe.
Yeah, good point.
They just started their own company too, and I think that was weighed heavily on Paul's mind. Apple was new. They wanted to put something out on it. At least Paul did.
Randy was mad at Paul when he first walked out of the theater because thinking he was the boss of the Beatles. Well, I get it by that time. It's the only way of keeping it together.
Well, that original film kind of depicted him that way.
Yeah.
Where this new one,
Well,
I don't think this new one's going to gloss things over. But,
he's just trying to say, look, lads, if we do it this way,
Yeah.
Yep. Well, and that's a good point about saying, they could have taken a longer break. And in addition to that, so they've put themselves, they're going through the stuff with Apple. They've they've already committed themselves to, okay, we're going to start a new album immediately.
Right.
And then to add to the pressure, it's like, oh, and we're going to create this new album in front of cameras.
Right.
And we're going to, then commit to doing this concert at the end. I mean, that they just put themselves,
they put themselves
in a corner,
Right. They put themselves in a corner, and maybe John could have been prepared a little bit more. Look, we all know he wasn't in the best place at that point in time. Give him a little bit more break to, get those demons or the addiction that he was going through at that time, get that taken care of, and then come in with the with the clean slate. I mean, he really didn't have much to record or song wise. I mean, I don't think Paul. I think what Paul wanted the stuff to be written that right there and then, but I think he wanted to try to get back to the way that he and John used to write together, maybe, but John just wasn't in that spot.
I think they were ready to be done, though, personally, because I mean, George walked out during Let It Be, and
I wanted to talk about that too.
We were all four disgusted, and John was drifting off to be with Yoko, and George was still in India in his mind, and doing things with India stuff, and Ringo was
come back from Woodstock.
Yeah.
Probably having a better time. A better time.
Lovely experience.
Yeah.
Guys, the point that's on here, I just wanted to address. I said last week that a lot of people noticed one of my favorite parts of the trailer is that bit when George's voiceover, more or less, he says, "So how many songs are recorded that are good or good or something already?" And John says, "None." But the thing is that's an editing trick. There's a lot of editing tricks in there.
Yeah, and a lot of movie trailers do that. It's not anything deceptive or anything. Yeah. They add drama and tension to the
That's
trailer.
why they call it a teaser.
It is cool though. It's a.
That's my favorite bit. That's probably my favorite bit of the whole thing.
Yes.
My favorite bit is when Paul says in 50 years they'll say we split up because Yoko sat on an amp.
Yeah.
I love to put that in the trailer.
And that is what happened, isn't it? Things like
that happened.
Or because Yoko ate George's digestive biscuit. That I always hear, it's something like that, But I'm the only guy to say that John looked stoned in one shot early on. You got to look at it close.
They're always stoned.
In the trailer?
No, but his eyes are messed up in one shot. And I actually froze. And he's looking over at Paul. When Paul's like doing the words at the very beginning, he's like ad-libbing some words, and John's like kind of looking over at him, like his eyes are like.
Oh, near the beginning, yeah.
Which part are you talking about, Joe?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Which part are you talking about? I didn't know.
It's near the beginning, kind of more or less the beginning part of the trailer when
Paul's riffing on "Get Back" or something, banging on his bass, and John's like staring at him. Yeah.
Looking over to the side with like really glossy eyes, and I like that little bit there. I guess.
Look back at
that. Brad mentioned about George walking out, and that's covered in the book in the transcript, right? But I was noticing. I went back. I'm sure a lot of people did. When I saw he says, "I'm leaving," and I went back like, "Well, what happened?" And I'm like, "Look," and there was nothing really said because it happened at lunch. Is that or the cameras were off when the fight happened?
Cameras were shut down during that point and came back on after the fact. Yeah,
January 10th, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so is it that why it's like that abrupt is because they don't have it like on record of like there being more of a conversation about
there may not be a transcript of it anyway.
Because I was like, he was just sitting there, like I was just imagining this in my mind. He's just like sitting there, everyone else is having a conversation, and he goes, "I think I'd like to leave." Like It's terrible, but it's amazing all at the same time. Like I could totally see that really happening. Like, I'm sick of this. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But if I was George and I went home, if I was George and I had Wawa in my brain, I would have written it and recorded it right there just to tell everybody else how pissed off I was. You know?
Yeah.
Doesn't George say like I have like about 10, 12, 14 songs of my own or something? There's one. Is it in the,
something like that? Well,
is it the trailer or in the book? I don't remember. They're talking about the rooftop song.
I think it might be in the book.
I think it's in the book. Yeah, with the book.
Well, wasn't George the one that brought in Billy Preston because of tension? So I mean, you know, part of that was all that too.
Mm-hmm. And it's actually, now that you bring that up, Brad, it's fascinating when you read in the book, you know, and you read the transcripts. When George brings Billy in, you can even read in the transcripts how the mood changes.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's really amazing when you read the conversation. So I mean, just seeing it in print, you can just see how much they all respected him, and the mood just lifts. You know? Fascinating.
Yeah, it seemed like from the point they got at Apple Studios, the whole vibe changed.
Yes.
It was just such a happier situation and more creative, productive.
Because there were several different studios that they did it in. So I mean, the first studio that they were in, it was kind of gloomy. So I think that's a lot of the reason why too. You know,
it was cold, gloomy, it's huge place.
8:30 in the morning. You know,
up in this little corner, and there's this huge place.
You couldn't make music at 8
like
o'clock
music at 8:30 in the morning. Yes.
Yeah. And also, they're out of their creative environment, and that's very important as a creative person to be in your comfort zone. Like if you're in a completely different environment, it's like, how can you be creative? And especially with all the cranes and cameras and stuff shooting around and all that stuff, like you can't really be yourself and get anything done. It's no wonder why they had to go.
Yeah.
I would love to have seen the production costs while they were there for those 15, 16 days, because you're in this big, huge, humongous studio for all these interior shots, and you just got this little section of them playing, and you still got all this other room. You know, I would love to see how much that cost them per hour or per day.
Rent it per day.
There's a lot of room to dance in and waltz in.
Right. Yeah, it's that.
It's the Beatles; they can afford it.
Oh, not
they
then.
didn't even have acoustic instruments at first because they couldn't figure out how to hook them up.
Yeah.
You know, they were just miserable.
I like the part in the trailer where Paul says something about you know, we've always, one thing that was always, we when our backs are against the wall, that's when we always come together, something like that. And then John says, all we have is each other, or something, words to that effect.
Then Paul shoots him a look, and then they go into an old picture of the band, and it really the dramatic effect in that trailer was excellent.
And that's when you break out.
It really tugged at your emotions, you know.
Yes,
you start to cry.
Yes, Caitlin. Yes, Caitlin. Exactly.
Yeah, you're right, Caitlin. Definitely,
Ugly crying.
Can I switch? Since we're talking about recording, can I switch gears just real quick on something?
Go ahead.
I know we're talking about that, but if you've listened to the record or the CD, which either one, the rooftop, the way they recorded all that is fantastic, because, you know, 64, 65, 66, we've got lousy concerts of the Beatles, but the rooftop, the way that was mic'd up, it was actually fantastic.
Giles said the audio is really good on that.
Yeah.
Well, once again, it's because they're on their home turf, even though they had to put wires and go through, you know, hoops and stuff, but they had their own control console and had their levels the way that they needed them to be, and they knew what they were doing there. And that's also a nod to Glenn Johns, because he was the one who set it all up.
Yeah. Thankfully, it wasn't Magic Alex that did.
Oh, God.
Yeah. John Lennon didn't do too good, to be fair, right? Of picking.
No, Magic Alex would have messed it up big time.
Oh man,
big time.
Yep, that's for sure.
But the sound quality was tremendous on the rooftop. I was just amazed. I mean, I've listened to it for years, like all of you guys, but then to hear it with the new mix and all of that, and it sounds like you're standing there with them.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's this here?
It's tremendous.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
And going back to the going back to the trailer, I love at the end when they have them all setting up their instruments, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 it
Ah,
cuts off. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Then they put that
Oh,
sound
man.
effect on it, like boom,
yeah. I
boom,
mean,
like a
that's
heartbeat almost. It's like
it's
it
just
gets,
wonderful.
It
It's
should have
it's
just-
going to
said right
happen, and
after
then it
that.
just cuts out. You know.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
I-
Of course, what's going to happen, but boy, does it build up the anticipation.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's brilliant trailer.
This is 1995 anthology-esque hype again.
Yes,
point.
yes, it is.
I think that's the last time we've seen something of this level. I mean, the
Yes.
one album came out that was exciting, and the general public got into the one album, and then a little bit in 2014 on the 50th, the
Little
general public got behind them then.
Right.
But this is, I think, the biggest. You're right,
Yeah,
Andy,
well,
since
this-
1995 or so. Yeah.
Right.
This definitely goes along with the anthology because you had the documentary, you
Right.
had the book, you had the CDs.
Everything.
There hasn't
Yeah.
there hasn't been another instance where we're getting all of this
Different
content.
media. Yeah.
Multimedia,
all at the same
multimedia
time.
event. Yep.
Mhm.
Right.
And that's why
Right,
it's
right.
so eerily similar.
They're even showing this on Thanksgiving weekend.
That's why it's like the anthology.
Exactly.
That's why
Good point.
exactly it's
Yeah.
like the anthology. I'm telling you. I was telling
This is
Tom
great though.
earlier.
Something
It's
a
awesome.
big event and future memory for the younger people too. That are this young
Yeah.
Right.
Beatle fans.
Yeah.
miss
And
that.
that's one thing I want to put out there. Now, I was very young when the anthology came out. I had just turned 6.
Oh my!
And,
Lucky you.
and
Wow.
but that's the thing. I remember it. I
Yeah, you remember
remember
it.
the hype. I remember
Yep.
being so excited. It was the first time in my lifetime as a Beatle fan where something historical and important happened.
Yes.
So
Right.
it gives you a
Yep.
good feeling that kids who are 5 or 6 years old now will forever remember this too.
Yep.
So
That's it. Caitlin, you're so on point with that. I was 14 when the anthology came out, so I was in,
All these young
in
people.
high school, and my dad is a first generation Beatle fan, and I was
Yeah.
so excited for Free as a Bird. And he said to me, Andy, if you think this is exciting, this is how it was when a new Beatles album came out every time.
Wow.
right, I will never forget seeing Free as a Bird for the first time, and because got into the Beatles by way of Yellow Submarine. And so when the little blue meanie popped out of the roof in the video, that was it. I was done. I was like, TV, this is fantastic. This is the best thing I've ever seen.
That's
And
great.
like
That's
I will
great.
never forget that as long as I live. And I hope
That's
that
great.
this will be like that for other kids.
Bingo.
Yep.
A lot of people have been explaining this to me when I was listening to, and we're talking now a little here about the audio on the EP that came out, 4-song EP on the new remix. Don't Let Me Down, the single, is one of the remixes, and I've always heard that song and always thought there was like this noise, which I didn't know. I don't know music, musician technical stuff. I always heard like a or something at the beginning. And what is that? I always said, and this enhances that noise. What now? Because I happen to like that one. Don't Let Me Down, the way they brought it up more and made it more alive. It's the same single, but it's more alive. But yeah, I hear that noise, and somebody says it's the wires, the snares, a Ringo snare drum. So Caitlin looks like she's preparing something.
That's what I always heard.
I happen to have here a snare drum.
Ah.
Wow.
We can use this as an example.
Oh, this is good if you can get that sound.
Oh,
Only on that track though? Why is it that track?
So right now, the snare is off if you can hear that. Here's the lever. So the snare is this part down here. It's these little bristles, and that's what gives it that pop, right? So you flip up this switch in the corner. Did you guys hear that sound?
Yeah. Like the wires hitting the bottom of it. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what they're referring to.
But it sounded more like when you were like scratching the bottom. That sounded like the noise I hear on the record.
Maybe.
You can hear it. The very opening guitar, right?
I think it's the mic picking up exactly what Kate's talking about there.
I mean, it's not. I don't hear it's not a drum beat. It's a sound.
Yeah. I think Kate's right, totally. The mic's probably picking up with the snare and the vibration of the bottom of those beads hitting the metal part. That's exactly what she's talking about. Caitlin, you're right on.
Boom.
It makes a shaking sound. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let somebody clear
So
that up
this-
for me because I've been
yeah,
wondering
so-
that.
It's a Ludwig snare drum, just like what Ringo uses.
Ooh,
So
nice.
there you go. It's a good
What
example.
Nice. Very nice.
What else?
Do you do drums too? Not to get off topic, but I
Yeah.
knew you play guitar. You do drums too?
I'm a drummer first. I've been playing since I was 9.
Oh,
I know
wow.
Yeah.
Caitlin's a drummer. Yeah, Caitlin and I are the drummers. Yeah.
Which one's the Pete Best and which one's the Ringo?
Oh man, that's fire.
Or Andy White.
Or Andy White, yeah.
The professional.
I'm a left-handed drummer, so I might qualify for the Ringo part.
I am too. I'm a lefty who plays a
there
righty
you
kid.
go.
Oh,
Wow! I didn't know you were a lefty drummer. Wow. Okay.
Yep.
Let's see what else can you come up with.
Right?
He's the biggest drinker.
I get something to throw out there. What's all your thoughts? Maybe you could go around to something about the the rehearsals, the jams, the outtake portion of this release. Do you guys miss anything you wish was on there, or you like it the way it is?
Yes, I do. We'll go around. I'm happy with what we got. Right. I've said in my review, a lot of people, everybody really said, "Oh, where was this? Where was Susie Parker? Where was Commonwealth?" Well, I understand why that wasn't included. But I was saying, since they put in "She Came In Through the Bathroom Window" and other songs that they would do on Abbey Road and Polythene Pam, I really wish that little bit of Mean Mr. Mustard was on there. Although did we get that elsewhere?
You got that on the
Abbey Road. Yeah.
Oh, that was on Abbey Road. See what?
Yeah.
If you'll excuse me for a minute, folks, I am going to go and edit my video right now and take that bit out.
It's on Anthology 3 as well.
That's right. That's right, Tim. It is. It's also on Anthology 3
That
where
long-
it
the thing- oh,
first
okay.
came out. Yeah.
But I'm wondering,
Yeah.
was that done in the Get Back sessions, or was it later done in the Abbey Road?
See, that's where you need to go and look at like the actual dates of when every single demo was recorded. It's the only way to kind of like piece stuff together, unfortunately, but that's too much.
But She Came In Through the Bathroom. Wasn't that also on Anthology?
Lewison, get the Lewison book.
get
The Lewison will tell you.
Oh boy. Oh yes, he's the
Yeah.
man. That looks like a newer edition than the one I have. The old one I have.
That
Oh,
is
it's
a
just a
later.
hardcover.
That's a later edition. That's not the original.
The main reason I ask is because I'm like most of you. I'm happy with what we got. I'm just grateful. It's a beautiful package. But for me, there's a couple of tracks here and there, and I'm not sure if they were during those sessions, but I have this thing that I got years ago called the River Rhine tape.
Yes.
And there's a version of I Lost My Little Girl that's like 4 minutes long. It's a different take on it, the way they play it. And it's a really cool 4 minutes of it. And I said, gee, that would have been nice on there, but what are you going to do? I don't know if that was during those sessions or after those sessions, but little stuff like that, I wonder if it would have been nice to have them on there,
Yeah.
Well, there's definitely enough room.
Yeah.
It was during.
Yeah, and actually, I want to respond. Robert S. asks, "What's the panel's feeling about the EP disc?" And I don't really care for it. Now I'm still waiting for my box set to come, but I will say that I think that was kind of cheesy. I mean,
Yeah.
in my opinion, I think that could have been. I mean, come on, it's a CD. I mean,
have a disc 3 of more jams rehearsals.
Exactly.
And those 4 songs.
They probably had the time on other discs anyway to put that on somewhere.
Plenty of time for
because it kind of goes right along with the Let It Be Naked when they gave us the 45 of Fly on the Wall. That was
right.
Which
is actually
that.
It's kind of segue there.
I don't understand.
A good point. I just want to ask. Now that we have all this stuff, do you think the Let It Be Naked stuff is just redundant? I mean, why? I don't even think I need to revisit that now that we have.
No,
all this.
I only, for me personally, I mean, I only pull it out to listen to Don't Let Me Down. I like that version of Don't Let Me Down. Once in a while, I'll listen to that. A couple of versions I like. I like I've Got a Feeling on there, and
I like it across the universe.
Like an extension. It's kind of like an extension to this, really.
Yeah.
I still listening to it for what it is.
Now that would have been cool if they reissued Let It Be Naked You can even call it something else or whatever, and kind of just slip that in the box or something. You know, I feel like that would have made more sense than the EP. Now, the EP, the only good things about it are the 2 extra Glenn John mixes. But having Let It Be, and I already forgot what the other song is on the other side.
Across the Universe,
Thank you.
Short version of I Me Mine.
Yeah,
a minute and 35 seconds or something like that.
I mean, what a waste.
Yeah, I didn't need those two.
I'll probably revisit the Naked one though. Since we're talking about Let It Be, I'll probably revisit it because I haven't listened to it in a while, and I'd love, like Kate said, I'd love to hear a new 180 gram version of that.
Compare and contrast.
I haven't listened to Let It Be Naked since it came out.
Yeah,
I listened to it one time.
Long time.
Yeah.
Wow. When you know what's out there, and then you see what's on the set, and it is a little underwhelming in a way. I mean, there's 500 takes to Let It Be and Get Back and all that stuff. We know that, but there's some hidden gems out there. And then I would say my biggest disappointment was all of those solo songs that started in that month. And all we get was one All Things Must Pass, which is fine because I love any version of All Things Must Pass I can get. And then they give me Some Truth. You had so many more songs that ended up on later solo records that I would have just loved.
Another Day, maybe? Was that?
Well, the backseat of my car, Hear Me, Lord. I mean, so many.
I didn't know that those were pulled out in those sessions. See?
Yeah.
I would love to have had
little
that.
snippets of them,
There's snippets. You can hear them on bootlegs. They're out there, but
that's the thing. That's the whole thing with me. I don't have any Beatles bootlegs. So there are
you can hear
so
that.
many tracks out there that I don't know about.
Yeah, type in Let It Be Black album, and you'll be blown away by some of the stuff that's on there on YouTube. But then also, I also kind of feel like George gets a little disrespected on here as well with these because there's really not a lot there. Give him another track or two, or even put Old Brown Shoe on here, even though that it was February of '69. At least get a little something more of George. I just feel like there's just not enough there on those bonus discs of George.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
I think All Things Must Pass was weak. I'm glad something was on there for All Things Must Pass, but I thought the one they put on there was kind of...
Yeah, there's other versions where they don't stop it in the middle, and it's just played through.
Oh, no. I mean, they did that song a lot that month. So you could have taken, and taken 100 out of it or whatever, but still give them a little something else on there to represent George a little bit more.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody's heard this, but there's a podcast called the Fab Four Free for All that had Giles Martin on it.
Yes.
And they ask him direct questions. It's only about 20 minutes long. It's worth hearing. They ask him direct questions about all of this stuff, and he gives pretty direct answers. Whether he's telling the truth or not, I don't know. But on that record, on the outtakes, he wanted to tell a story, is what he said. So things like All Things Must Pass are there because that's the beginning. It's rough and they're roughing it out. And by the end, it ends with a couple of real tracks. And he wanted to try to tell a story and tell the progression of that. And that's why he did that.
Well, that also can tell.
All the crazy Beatle fans have all this stuff anyway. So a lot of it, they already have. So we didn't need to put everything out. And some things work better visually. So he's purposely didn't put Susie's Parlor on there because he thought it worked better visually. And he mentioned the fast version of Two of Us, same thing. It's better as a visual, he thought, so he just left it in the film.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
that was interesting.
It's certainly a good visual in the movie.
That's what I'm thinking. In the 6-hour block we're going to get in those 3 parts, so we'll probably get to see maybe some of this extra stuff. A little more George, a little more rock and roll oldies, that kind of stuff.
Here's a question. This makes me think of, what do you think the chances are that they're going to show you at least a little bit of the Yoko jam session after George left? I think it'd have to be for historical purposes, even if it's just a little bit.
They were jamming pretty hardcore there.
Well, that's the other reason.
It's a part of the story.
I like to see a little bit of it.
Me too.
A lot of people aren't going to realize, as much as as much trouble as they felt with Yoko, still, they get behind her playing, and Paul's, I think, trying to get feedback.
Yeah, with
I
it.
think
Yeah.
he's like going like this with
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff, And I was also amazed by in the book when I was reading some of the transcript. I didn't know there's a part in there where Yoko's suggesting some ideas, and I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, they're going to say, who is she to come up with ideas?" But Paul's agreeing with her,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that
other
was
people
kind of
too.
that was what kind of going back to the book. I mean, that was something interesting that when Yoko was giving some input, now that they weren't always totally blowing her off. I mean, they were
were a
actually.
case.
Yeah, I mean, they were, I mean, sometimes you could tell would she come up with an idea and Paul would just say,
Yeah.
like, that was kind of funny.
I mean, because some of that could dispel some of that, could lessen some of the hatred.
Yeah, exactly. But going back to the jam, yeah, I think the jam, at least some of it. I mean, I don't think we need the whole thing, but
No.
I mean, but yeah, I think it's important, as you said, Kate, for historical reasons. It
Yeah.
should be in there. Absolutely.
I think you're right. I think it will probably show up. You're probably right on.
He
with
wants to
that
tell the
comment.
story. He wants to tell the story.
If they're going day by day and they're going to do something from every day, it'll have to be.
Sure.
And it'll probably paint Yoko a little bit better picture than her being such the nasty person in Let It Be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It'll help a little bit.
Well, I always like that shot in that thing from last year that Peter Jackson leaked to us, where there's a shot with her with Linda and Yoko's actually smiling. So it's like, whoa, that's different from what you're used to.
Right, you're right.
Can't wait for the movie. Yes, indeed. Neither can I.
Yeah. Do any of you have any thoughts like you wish it was in a theater so you could commiserate with other fans? Or are you happy with this?
I do, but not a 6-hour version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wish
I'd
it was
see 6 hours of this. I would gladly fork over $25, $30 to see it in the theater.
I would do it. I mean, hey, I saw all 5 Planet of the Apes movies in the theater, and that's all more than 6 hours when I was.
Take any pee breaks or what?
Do that too. But
there'd have to be like an intermission in between. Like every 2 hours, there's an intermission or something.
There'd have to be.
What were you saying?
You could treat it as, each day it's like, oh, you have a ticket, you come back to your spot, you get the other 2 hours. The next day you do it like that, like make it a thing.
3-day thing.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah. I do wish we could see the rooftop concert in the theater. That would be amazing.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
It's just something about being in the theater with fellow fans and it's filled up with fans and you're all like into it. You know what I mean? It's just, you can't replace that sitting at home.
I was saying to Matt
unless you bring
earlier,
a bunch of friends over or something.
This is the next best thing, what we're doing here or elsewhere. When people, if you can't go to the theater together, you can at least you can have a fest for Beatles fans just yet. Well, at least you can get together like this.
Yeah.
We can do a live stream while the show's on. We just can't, obviously we can't show the screen, but we could, do a live stream and get all of our reactions.
I would love to do something like that, except I really have to concentrate.
Well, that's what you do. First, you
can't
watch
moderate
the
and
whole thing.
concentrate.
First,
you watch the whole thing, and then later, then do a watch along.
There you go.
Yeah, because it'd be a whole lot better than watching it on my
it'll be available.
TV.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it'd be a lot better than watching it on my 19-inch TV, right?
Yeah.
Black and white still, right, Brett?
I don't think 55-inch TV is enough nowadays.
Oh, we need 80-inch for that.
Did any of you see 8 Days a Week in the theater with other fans when that came out limited? Do you?
Yes.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. People were like into the whole Shea Stadium thing at the end.
The Shea Stadium bit at the end was great. Absolutely.
Everybody
sounded wonderful.
I got to see it twice, and it's for the first. Is it the first time? There was something wrong with the sound in the Shea Stadium, but the second time it was great. So it just goes to show you, if you get a bad night or a bad showing.
What was really fun, even this was just kind of a bonus, was at the end when they played 8 Days a Week over the credits, everybody was spontaneously doing the clapping and everything. And that was cute. That was really cute. It was fun.
Yeah. I wish they would put out a nice Blu-ray of Shea Stadium, though.
Yes.
Oh man.
Eventually, and I still
hopefully
say,
eventually.
Not just the show, but you can beef up to a nice feature by having people arriving. This footage, people arriving and getting excited. And then the opening acts, and then in the Beatles in the dugout, and then the show itself. You could make a nice. I don't know how long. 90 minutes.
I just think they should restore everything that they've ever done and have it available so I can just have it.
Give it to Peter Jackson.
Right.
Give it all to
Right.
Peter Jackson.
Yeah, I want him to have Shay. I want him to have Budokan. I want him to have Candlestick Park.
Yep.
Just take
Then-
it.
Give it all.
Then,
Give it all.
then, no, you give him the Beatles cartoons as well, and then put those on Disney Plus.
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
that's what.
no.
Just give me everything. I want it now.
Yeah. Yeah, before it's too late for people like me. We're not here anymore.
Stop.
Oh, come
You're gonna
on.
live to
No,
103.
I'm just saying, let's get the whole catalog out,
yeah,
super
yeah.
deluxe, before
Yeah.
I'm like
Well,
80.
that's the
You
thing.
know?
There's people, that are, get, in their 60s and 70s. They're like, hey, hurry up with this stuff.
Really?
Hello, Mark Lewison. Hello. I
Yeah.
hope
We
you're
were
in
Calling
good
Mark
more
Lewison.
volume.
Paging
Yes.
Mr. Lewison. Please finish volume 2. Please.
How you feeling, Mark? Good, I
Yep.
hope.
I hope.
Waiting for the rest of the Tune-In book series,
Exactly.
whatever.
Next
I-
decade.
I wanted to ask, anybody have a chance to listen to the Glenn Johns
Yeah.
album?
Not yet.
Yes. Yes,
there it
yes,
is.
yes, and it's awesome. It's my favorite part of the whole box
I
set.
agree. I
Oh,
agree.
nice. Yeah.
Hands down.
I
I'm
think it's a
so
pleasure.
slow. I don't know if anybody's like me. I'm taking it so slow. See, I want to treat this Let It Be or Get Back, whatever you want to call it, like a steak. I'm just taking my time and going through it so slow. Like I'm only on like page 7 of the book, and you guys have already read the whole book.
And
know?
you've
I'm
only
not
played 2 of
nowhere
us.
near the book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your steak's gonna get cold, Brad.
The Glenn Johns mix, it's too bad that at least that right now it's only
Yeah.
available as part of the set, right? It's not in exclusive individual.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Right,
people have,
and that for me was the sell point for me to get it on vinyl rather than having the CD, because there
Right.
was no way that I wasn't going to have a first pressing of this Glenn Johns
Right.
album.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
No way.
Can I ask
Right.
a question?
And then-
Does anyone have the 2 CD version? What's the second disc consisting of? I didn't check on that. What's on the second disc on the 2 CD?
think
I
just
don't think
outtakes.
everybody here's got more than the 2 CD.
Yeah, I don't have.
It's a best of the outtakes.
Oh, it is. Okay.
But
And then listening to the
Kind
Glenn
of like
Johns
the Abbey
was,
Road.
yeah, I was really just shocked because I hadn't listened to this before, and then you pop it in, and then one after 909 ends, and then that's where you hear John do his audition
right,
comment.
right, yeah, that's
You know?
true.
And then, but then on Let It Be all these years, you hear it after Get Back at the end of the album.
And it's from the rooftop.
Hmm. Right.
So Glenn Johns must have put it in for
Right.
in that spot.
On that. Right.
The whole thing, I think, is I understand why it was rejected, or why they didn't want to go with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
You
I
listen to
love
some of George's guitar solos; they're not really fully realized yet.
Mhm.
Some of the playing, some of lyrically, it's not there yet. But absolutely.
and they've
Yeah.
got the most listenable version of Teddy Boy on it.
Mhm.
So the next
Uh-oh.
question is when are they going to release Let It Be on colored vinyl?
Oh, because Beatle Brad loves color vinyl.
Tom does too.
Yes.
Yeah,
Glenn
yeah.
does great.
Ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that'll be the next phase for Christmas, maybe.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, the
This
next
may not be
phase
the end
of
of it.
Beatles Christmas shopping is here.
What's the deal? What's the deal with the picture disc? How available is that? Where is it at? I've only seen it.
I'm not sure about this, but I don't know if that's only available in the stores. Somebody's telling me
Yeah, it's only
in the stores.
available at independent record stores.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh. Gotcha.
I mean, they really make it tough.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah.
I
tough
did
one.
notice that this Teddy Boy is a little longer than the one that's on Anthology. It has a bit of a longer intro than the one on
Yeah.
Anthology.
And they cleared up that feedback or whistle sound. There's something in
Yeah.
the bootlegs during it that whistles, or it's
Right.
gone. So that's good.
Is the picture disc any different than anything else, though?
It's just the
It's just
album
the
only.
album.
Just the regular
It's
album.
just the remix. It's just the remix, probably.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you think I played it? No, I didn't play it. I haven't, but I didn't play it. I figured it's just the album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Somebody before was at way earlier. I forget who it was asking, does anybody have a favorite mix of the new songs? Like, if you heard them all yet, or which ones you have heard? Maybe.
I'll just say quick. I've got a feeling that's probably my
Oh, I
favorite.
love that. Yeah.
I like that.
I love
I
everything.
Let It Be for me, and I Mean Mine
Yeah.
are my two favorites.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I Mean Mine has some nice punch to it now.
Yeah,
I
it.
really like that. Yeah, it's got a little more punch.
I haven't even listened to the remix of the album. I skipped and just went to the demos and the rehearsals and the Glenn John stuff. I was just like, I can listen to the Let It Be album later. Like I needed all that extra bonus stuff. So
somewhere
Ken Michaels,
when Ken Michaels listens to this, he'll be smiling because you pulled the Ken Michaels because that's what he does.
Yeah, he does that usually. Well, I went right to the Glenn John. That was the first thing I heard. I played that right away, and I was so pleased with it. The sound quality, because we all had that on the earliest of bootlegs had some of that stuff. Yeah. And even from '69, right? Early bootlegs, and to have it really clean quality, sounding good, and the right speed. Sometimes in some of the early bootlegs, the speed wasn't correct.
Yes,
right.
I believe, in my opinion, for whatever reason, I've always loved the track "I Dig a Pony." I think it's one of the most underrated tracks from John. And but I mean, I enjoyed that. I was talking with Andy earlier. I understand that you can't get rid of the orchestration on "Long and Winding Road." I was just like really surprised that it was as high up in the mix as it was. But other than that, I didn't think that it was a mind. I mean, Across the Universe, I think just feels completely like it doesn't belong on this record, just the way it's recorded. Because it wasn't really, performed live or anything like that. It just has a completely different feel than the rest of the tracks. Right? Yeah, exactly. So
I mean, when you're listening to, straight from Two of Us to Dig a Pony to Across the Universe, there's a difference. Yeah.
It doesn't have that live feel like the original idea was intended for the album. So it kind of like just totally takes it in a different direction. But still, I've always loved the track. But Get Back, I like, and I think like Matt said, I've Got a Feeling. I think I was blown away by that one. I love the bass and the drums, the power on that, and then that great guitar solo breakdown from George, after Paul's howling. But good stuff.
Tom, that's what Giles was saying about the biggest challenge was and his biggest goal, because Let It Be was recorded at Abbey Road. It was recorded at Twickenham. It was recorded on the roof. It was recorded at Savile Row. All these different atmospheres and spaces. His main challenge was to get everything to kind of sound as much as he could alike to make it a unified whole. And he said that was the hardest part of doing the whole thing.
Rocky, I agree. I like One After 909 on here as well. I think that really came alive really well. But although, again, I've said this in my review that I did in the video. Sometimes you hear something, you're like, "Oh, I didn't like that." Next time, oh, that was better. I liked it the second time. I thought I don't know what term they use, you musicians, the keyboard or piano or whatever it is that you hear tinkering away on One After 909. I was missing it. I was like, "Well, it's supposed to be up a little more." I thought. Then the second or third time, I'm like, "Oh, it's there."
Well, that's why we still have the original.
But not to ruin it for Caitlin, but when they do Two of Us on the album itself, it's fantastic the way that way Paul and John are just coming together on that. It's just almost like the early days, like they wanted it to be, all over again. And the acoustic guitar of Paul playing is just
that was my favorite.
Yeah.
And Joe, I know you didn't like Two of Us. The separation on Two of Us.
I didn't pick up on the separation.
The stereo separation that good before. I thought it was amazing.
A lot of people have mentioned that. I didn't pick up on that. All I knew was I'm listening. I have my system. I usually put I mean, I sound like Spinal Tap every time I say this. I have the volume; it goes up to like 35 or something. I usually have it like 30, I get pretty loud, right? And when I can, and this is again in the car system, but it sounds fantastic. And I'm like, okay, and I got the bass. I like the bass; it goes to 10. I like bass 8, 9, sometimes 10, depending on the recording. And I'm like, whoa! As soon as the drums came on, boom, boom. I'm like, oh, that's too much, too much. I had to go down to like minus something 0 or 1 plus 1 or 2 on the bass, but that's all I concentrated on the first time was that I thought it was a little too much, and I like the drums to be accentuated for Ringo. I love that they're doing that.
Yeah.
I want to hear it on the early tracks.
On the early
I want
stuff,
to. I want to hear the 63 and 64.
Please, when, Lord, when?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Can I throw one quick thing on the rehearsals and jams albums? Does anyone like that little part in that alternate 1 after 909 where the piano does like a descending thing after each verse?
I like that. I like that as a change. I mean,
you don't get that on the final version, but I love that little piano run.
I love it. I love that as something different.
Yeah. It's really neat. I don't. Is that Paul doing that or Billy Preston? I don't.
I didn't want to make him. I should know this, and I didn't look it up before I did.
Yeah, I gotta check.
I don't know if it's Billy or Paul.
I want to look into that
because. But Kid, you look like you were going to say something.
No, I was just going to say, from what I've heard so far, and as I said, like my set comes Wednesday, so I haven't heard everything yet. But the mixes, the remixes of the album that I've heard so far. I mean, one thing that I appreciate, and I think it's been true of the other remixes we've seen of previous albums, is I really appreciate the clarity of these songs, because even though there are some quibbles I have with a few of the remixes, I really appreciate, though. I mean, there's just some wonderful, some instrumentation and some extra vocals that I had never noticed before, and I really, I just so appreciate that, because I thought some of Phil Spector's mixes were a little muddy for me in the the original, or too kind of bogged down, and extra orchestration and things like that. And I Me Mine is a great example of that I just think this remix really brought out as I said, just has so much more punch to it.
I agree.
You can really hear his guitar work better, his vocals really stand out more. I mean, just even things like you can understand what he's singing. I mean, just something as simple as that. You can really hear that. So I really appreciate that in these remixes. And yeah, I mean, some of it, like kind of like what you're saying, Joe, about you wish the piano would be brought up a bit more, and things like that. I understand that for sure, but I really, I like the clarity of these mixes. Absolutely. Because as I said, some of these in the original remixes were a little muddy sounding for me. So far, I like what I'm hearing.
Well, how about I wanted to talk a little bit about Dig It, the version of Dig It. Not the one from, I'm talking about the one that's on, I guess it's on the Glenn Johns one.
Glenn Johns,
right. I gotta say, I'm so glad that they gave us, I think it's 4:09. I think it's a little over 4 minutes, but the original version, I think, goes over 8 minutes.
8 minutes.
8 minutes would be too much, but at least we get more than 50 seconds. Like I have a lot of fun with that in the context of all the other rough songs that are on the.
I didn't know the song was longer than 50 seconds, so that was a good surprise for me.
Yeah, there's an 8 minute version. I mean, the same one, but 8 minutes.
Yeah,
that goes on.
8 minutes, on and on and on. Yep,
that's a bit much.
Too long. The 8 minutes. Too long.
Yeah.
Does everybody prefer a version of Get Back with Don't Let Me Down on it rather than not having it on there? Because I love the fact that Be Naked has Don't Let Me Down on it.
Yeah.
And then this Glenn Johns version had Don't Let Me Down on it as well.
Yeah.
I've
but of
always
course, it's
thought
a
that was
different
nice.
version.
Yeah.
It's different. It's a different version of Don't Let Me Down on John's version. We have a special person joining us here. And,
oh wow! Late in the game, who's coming in?
I think you're expecting him. Here he is. I'm so glad he's able to get here.
Uh-oh.
You ready?
Is it?
Hey!
Ken Michaels, who, by the
Ken.
way, Ken, I was listening to your radio show, Every Little Thing, today. I heard Everly Brothers. The one I heard was Everly Brothers. It's an older one, right? I think
yeah.
Everly Brothers tribute was played on Ghosty's station
Oh, nice.
today. I heard that he does the Every Little Thing show, and of course, he's one of the people on the Talk More Talk, along with myself, Kid O'Toole, and Tom HUNYADY. And boys, what? Oh, he's wearing the brown. Let It Be. Is that the brown?
Yes.
Yeah, I have that one as well. I wore the black, so we're different today, which is
Okay.
good. Ken.
This is actually my wife's shirt. I can borrow it.
It doesn't matter. So, Ken, wow. Well, the show's over, folks. So just kidding. So, Ken, I mean, I don't know where to begin with you, because you didn't get to give us. Although I know you did a Things We Said Today.
Yeah.
He also does a Things We Said Today podcast. You do a show on it already. The new Let It Be.
Right.
So,
Good to
generally,
see you,
what
Ken.
do you think?
Well, I've only listened to the audio from the box set. I did buy the Get Back book, but I haven't gone through it yet. I'm going to be doing that right after this. There's so many things to delve into, but I love the audio. If anything, it's 2 discs of outtakes, which is the highlight for me, but it's way too short.
Right.
I mean, the first disc is 42 minutes, and the second disc is 30, I think, and you could fit it all on one disc. And as I said on Things We Said Today, you can also add the 4 tracks on the EP to the Glyn Johns CD, and you could have taken what was a 6 CD set, 6 with the Blu-ray, that is, and condense it down to 4. I just wish there was more material, but it's kind of hard to be critical at this point because we don't know if there's going to be any soundtrack to go with the Get Back documentary. So, I mean, there's so much stuff. I'm not familiar with everything from that month and all the Nagra reels. I know some of it, but I'm sure there's a lot of worthwhile material that you could have stuck on there. And certainly at least 1 disc or 2 discs of outtakes, especially a lot of the rock and roll oldies. And also, as we talked a lot on Talk More Talk, the one thing that fascinates me is the evolution of songs. So any type of different arrangement of a Beatles song, like Two of Us, there was a time when they rehearsed it really fast, much faster than the version that came out. I would have loved for that to have been on this. We'll probably get a lot of that in the actual documentary itself. But I'd love to have a separate audio release of, the music that's in the documentary. But we don't know if that's even going to happen. So, but I love those 2 discs of outtakes. That's the big highlight for me. I'm not thrilled with the Glyn Johns mix. I've heard it before. It doesn't do all that much for me. It doesn't have that much excitement to me, and I don't really like the sound quality that much, even though this was remastered.
Good to see you, Ken. How are you doing? Glad. Just a quick question to you, Ken.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about the rooftop. Would you like to see more of the rooftop, perhaps, maybe of the audio version of that, or?
I would like to see an entire CD of just the rooftop.
See, that's what I was kind of leaning towards too. Yeah.
Well, if I could, my opinion on that is, I for what that's worth, somebody, I think it was it Mitch Axelrod? Somebody was saying that, and I kind of agree. I mean, I love to see it visually. I think visually, the whole concert would be amazing, including doing songs over again, or maybe technical stuff. But to listen to it, I'm okay. I mean, I have a CD of it, but audio-wise, I don't really need it as much. Visually, I'm excited about it.
Well, I want both.
I hope they do all of it, because there's great footage of it being messed up too on the roof.
Yeah, that reminded me of a bit when John, when he does, I think it's the first go at "Don't Let Me Down," the one that's in the original Let It Be movie, and he screws up a line and makes a joke of it. In the book with the transcript, I like when he afterwards he's talking about. I think they're watching the playback and they're saying, can we edit that, like fix that or edit that or something. So just a little thing that he was concerned about it. I think he wouldn't have minded as much.
And that's funny because that's usually like the most played clip when he, flubs up that line.
Yeah, John flubbed up a lot of lines.
Isn't the film is going to have the entire rooftop performance?
Yeah,
right.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
So
I think so because mine's the one I've got. I've had a bootleg of it for years, and mine's about 50 minutes long. But I'm not sure if the movie itself will have the whole show.
I think they said was it
sure
42?
The documentary Get Back will have the entire thing.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be that. Okay.
I just hope that it's only the concert and not the people on the streets talking, interrupting any of the songs. Just
good point.
pure music,
and
nothing else,
and not cut in between the guy walking and what do you think of that? Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
No, none of that.
I wouldn't mind it in between song. I don't like when they're singing and you go down to the street. I don't mind.
Like the original movie does.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
That just disrupts the flow of it. I mean, again, you'd like to have that version. We want to have that original version of the film somewhere down the line to have it, but we got to have this rooftop, uninterrupted, no cutting, just the music and the band, for 42 minutes or whatever.
Yep, I agree. Absolutely.
I also think if you're used to hearing many takes of these songs, it isn't going to bother you to have a CD with the entire rooftop concert there and listening to all 3 versions of Get Back and 2 versions of I've Got a Feeling. You're used to this at this point. And if you're listening to the box set, you've got several versions anyway, and you're listening to the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
I wouldn't expect fans to want to hear 30 takes of Get Back, but a few of them you could live through,
There's one I like. There's one of the extras where the song starts out one of the sessions. It's kind of different from what we're used to hearing, but then when Ringo comes back at the end, it's the record, the one we're used to hearing on the record, and then it goes on long for the credit sequence bit of the Let It Be film. We got to get together and all that stuff. Paul singing, going crazy.
The single version was actually an edit of two takes.
Yeah.
So it's cool to hear. It's towards the coda where they edit right in to the release version. That's the single version. So it's cool to hear that.
Yeah.
But,
that's true.
For me personally, and we've talked about this a lot on Talk More Talk, hearing the evolution of a song is fascinating. And, there's a bootleg of them early on rehearsing Don't Let Me Down. And the part where they're singing I'm in Love for the First Time, the others are answering back a line. They're trying to come up with something else. And they didn't end up using that. So that's fascinating to me. I'm not saying we should like that version better than the one that we've heard all these years, but even the stuff that they didn't use later, that's fascinating. To know songs as they develop, when they're not finished, when they're missing something, or they're using something that gets taken out later, that I find the most interesting.
Well, it's like one of the songs I really like a lot of. One of my favorite bootlegs is where Paul starts off and he plays with his guitar and he goes, "I got a feeling," and John goes, "Good." It's real playful. It's real fun.
Right.
To hear that.
Like I like stuff like that in the Glenn Johns mix. Yes, you have. Keeps me on my toes. On your what?
More loosey goosey.
I love that.
Right.
I agree with this quote up here. By the way, like that's a moment I do like in the film when they're doing "I Got a Feeling" at that moment, and the lady, I just can't see it makes sense. I love that. I love that moment. That second. That's in there. It doesn't hurt the song really.
That's true.
But,
well, hopefully the Let It Be film, the original one, is supposed to be reissued. They haven't been saying anything about it. They said initially when we first heard about Get Back with all their plans, but now
maybe
they're not saying
an extra disc in the Blu-ray or something.
That's all it's probably going to be.
Well, I'm hoping that it gets the same restoration treatment as all this other footage is. So hopefully Peter Jackson is restoring that as well.
I think the Let It Be itself is going to be reissued. The film itself was talked about for 2050, so we'll get that done.
Stretch it out.
Yeah, I think it makes
Brad,
really
they can wheel
stretching
us
it
into
out.
the theater in our wheelchairs. They can.
Yeah.
As much as I've always wanted it, I still want it because it's history and it was the film in 1970.
Right.
I could see them waiting a while to let this new one permeate a little bit, and then at a later date
It's
put it
not
out.
like we haven't been waiting a while, anyways.
Just throw it in as
there's
a
no way they'll
bonus.
throw it in a box of
Bonus.
this because they'll want their $30 a pop for them. So,
True enough.
I kind of wish it would be a separate release by itself.
I think
Being
it will
separate
be.
from Get Back.
Well,
Yeah, I hope so too.
that would be smart financially.
I don't think they're going to do
I
that
think-
though. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they'll just bundle it with Get Back and call it a day. I mean, you're gonna milk this
so
cow
much
some more.
Buzz and excitement
yeah,
about
absolutely.
this.
I mean, Rock Show should have been included with the Wings Over America box set, but it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
No, I don't think it will be.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ken,
Money in.
could you talk a little bit about the trailer? Your feelings on the trailer.
Oh, so well done. I mean, the one thing that stood out for me more than anything else is when George Harrison's talking to John Lennon and he's saying, "How many songs do we have done yet?" And John goes, "None."
Yeah.
And maybe I'm reading too much into this, but I kind of feel like the narrative of this film isn't whether or not they're breaking up during this month or are they going to get this concert off the ground. Pardon the pun.
La, 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 la.
Put Paul on everything.
It's becoming like you got 3 weeks to make an album. Can you do it?
Yeah.
He's ready. Usually Tom is ready with anything. But, yeah, but this whole idea of can you finish an album in 3 weeks?
Yeah,
it's almost like that's a new narrative here.
Yeah, they
So,
found a way to put tension into this new production.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good idea because the original film was kind of a little aimless. I mean, it did just sort of like, was just sort of like, we talked about this on Talk More Talk, it was just kind of like Billy Preston just shows up, like no explanation. And, I mean, we know the story, but I think they're considering that obviously not everybody watching this will know the full story. So it'll be interesting to see if they're going to have some kind of story, explanation on screen or something.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too, because I mean that's doing a disservice to Billy,
because it is like a historical story. It's the way it happened. It's what he wants to tell. He wants to tell a story. Peter Jackson.
Exactly.
So I like that. And the tension in the trailer, it's a great thing. Like, what's the purpose? What's the reason?
Got to build
story?
it somehow.
What's going on?
You have to build it somehow,
Well, it's also very interesting that Peter Sellers is in it too.
Yeah,
he makes an appearance. Yeah,
because they were shooting the Magic Christian at the same time. Ken, right?
Right, exactly.
That was after, but it's after. But he makes an appearance. Yeah,
right.
Another one I want to mention, I had no clue all these years, 50 years this film was released ago, and I never knew their first manager, Alan Williams, showed up there. I never knew that.
I didn't know that either.
There's a picture of him, a shot of him quickly in the trailer, and in the book, there's a picture where it's him in the book, too. He showed up one day at Savile Row.
They were really trying to get back to the good old days.
I'm not for everybody.
I listen. I shared a drink or two with Alan Williams in Liverpool once upon a time. So
wow,
I did that 10 years ago, and he liked his red wine. He used to sit at the end of the bar at the tavern and sit there, and I got to meet him a few times, and quite the lad when he's had a few in him.
I think it'd be cool if he shows up in the film. You just get a shot or two of him.
That would be neat. That would be really neat. Well, like I said, I'm still on page 7 of the book, so you're ahead of me, Matthew.
So the book has the transcript of Billy's introduction to the other Beatles. I hope they'll be
does.
filled. We saw that little bit. There's a little bit that we saw in film when they're first kind of like greeting Billy. Do you remember? Was that in Anthology?
That was in Anthology, Joe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's something. I mean, they have something of it.
Yeah, that's probably from the similar stuff. I think that's over at that's Apple. That's when they're at Apple. I think.
Yeah, it's at Apple.
Yeah.
Greeting him at the Apple.
I'm wondering how they're going to handle when George walks out. Are they going to give any kind of real explanation as to why he did? Because he had an argument with John at that time.
Off camera.
Because
off camera. Yeah.
How are they going to handle that and explain that? That I would find interesting.
Yeah.
Because
apparently.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, just I was going to say we talked about this a bit on Talk More Talk, that apparently they are going to have some. Peter Jackson, I guess, mentioned that he's going to have sort of like I don't know if this is going to be, if you guys remember the show Pop-Up Video from the 90s, if it's going to be like that.
There you go. Right.
You know, that when they mention. You know, because in their conversations they mention if it's a political figure or something, they're going to have some kind of explanation on screen. You know, because obviously a number of those figures, you know, today's audiences won't know. So I don't know if they will handle something like that with a little pop up on the screen or how they're going to handle this.
I mean, if someone like Enoch Powell comes up, would they do something like that with that? You know,
right,
exactly.
Probably be like the Beatle cartoons. They'll have a sing along with the little thing going.
God.
In the transcript, in the book, they explain that whole thing too.
Yeah.
With that controversial bit. They
right.
That.
Exactly.
Very good.
Yeah, this is, I don't know. What anybody else think of anything to add? This time we could go on forever, but
no. Unfortunately, I got to go here in a minute.
Okay. So I'm greatly excited by this. Maybe we'll say, okay, call it a day, night, morning, depending on wherever you are when you see this. This will be a video, of course, in addition to a live stream. I want to thank everybody for coming on here. This was really a lot of fun. I knew it would be. And Ken,
thank you for having us.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Fun.
Yeah. Hey, I'm trying to think of a honeymooners line, but I can't think
like
of one.
the
Humana.
That's what I saw.
Playtone
There you
Records,
go.
Caravan of Stars are with us. You know,
Joe,
Yeah,
you're still
Cat
the biggest
and Geach
thing on
and the
television.
Shrimp Shack shooters.
definitely. Especially when I turn profile. But
Thank you, Joe. Seriously.
that's honeymooners. Honeymooners line.
Thanks,
So
Joe,
everybody,
for hosting it.
I mean, I don't want it to end, but all things must pass. So it's got to.
There you go.
So,
Hey,
so
congrats,
thanks, everybody.
Caitlin, once again. That's awesome news.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
did
you
you hear that?
guys.
She's gonna
yeah,
be-
I can't.
what's
That's
the
going to
news?
be great. That's something to look forward to.
Yeah,
What's
thank
that?
you.
Yeah.
I'll plug it once again for those who may have missed it. I've been invited to be a guest on the FaB Forum on the Beatles channel on SiriusXM. That's going to be this coming Wednesday, October the 20th at 9 p.m. Eastern. But if you have the SiriusXM app, you can listen anytime. And if you don't have SiriusXM, go to my YouTube channel. I just posted a video that has a link for a free trial for SiriusXM. So I hope you guys will take a listen.
Nice deal. Yeah.
I'll be listening.
I'll listen.
Thank you.
I'll listen.
For those out there that
Congratulations again.
Thank
Yes.
you so much.
Congratulations.
It means a lot.
For those out there that enjoy, of course, and I know you all do, Let It Be, Get Back, all that kind of thing. On Talk More Talk, we're going to be doing our next show, talking about, really detailed about the new release, the audio.
When's that
everything.
going to air? You think?
The
When's that airing?
25th, I think, is
Oh,
the
okay.
date. Am I right about that?
Let
I
me
think
double
that's
check.
25th.
Let me
It's always
get
on
my
it.
calendar. Hang on.
Was
Hang
it new
on.
Let It Be? I didn't know.
Yep, 25th. 25th.
25th. That's going to be live on Facebook.
Yes. And then it'll
Monday
be
night.
up on YouTube and any podcasting platform you like a day or two later.
Please
So,
subscribe
And-
to Talk More Talk
yes.
on YouTube. We have a
Two
YouTube
legs too.
channel.
Yes.
And I'll get to that. I'll get to that.
Hold your horses.
She's
No,
me.
No, me first. Me
Caitlin and Ken Michaels and Tim Allen, all
Subscribe
of
to
us. Please
everybody.
subscribe.
Tim Allen, Ken Michaels Radio. There's a YouTube channel, Ken Michaels Radio, with amazing shows and interviews with people. Matthew Street, Caitlin Larkin,
I'm in the
Beatle
basement.
Brad. Did I miss any? Two Legs. Can't remember. Two Legs with Andy and Tom there, who really Paul McCartney crazy.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Awesome
And
show.
thanks, everybody.
And one thing on things we said today, we already did a show on Let It Be, like Tom was talking about. So if you want to catch what Darren DeVivo had to say, Alan Kozin, and myself, we just go through the audio. So if you can't get enough of Let It Be, we're all going Let It Be crazy now. That could be a warm up to Talk More Talk.
Mm.
There you go.
Conversation there, and everybody.
I'm a little let it beat out, but
You can never get too much Let It Be.
so yeah. Anybody else have anything that I missed to plug? Tim Allen on. You don't want to talk about your podcast. You got
cracklepop.podomatic.com, and I have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Go.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Joe,
everyone.
for hosting it.
Oh,
This
thank you
was
all for
fun.
being here. No point in me hosting something where people are not here, so we're all here. Okay.
Great to see everybody who's here too.
Yeah,
Everybody.
Yes.
this was special. Very special.
All-star
And
panel
this
here.
show,
Very cool.
FaB GaB, by the way, this is part of my FaB GaB show. I said that at the beginning. Check out our FaB GaB episodes with myself and Matthew Street. We're the two hosts, and we do shows whenever we can do them. It's not
Whenever we can. Yeah.
sometimes once a week, sometimes once every 2 weeks, sometimes once a month and a half, whatever it is. They're right here. You see them on my channel. So thanks, everybody. Talk soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.